What's happening, people? Very good evening to you all. This is your boy, the Boxing Lowdown, here for TBL Live. Now, we've got a lot to talk about today, and I thought, let me just jump on a live stream because we're not doing a podcast today, which is normally scheduled for a Monday. We're actually doing a podcast on Tuesday. So look out for that tomorrow. Myself and Laurie will be touching on further issues that have been going on around the sport of boxing. But I just thought, you know what, with all the news that I've seen today, let me just quickly jump on a live, get the feeling from you guys, see what you guys are saying. And yeah, we've got a lot to talk about, man. So I thought, let me just quickly jump on, gather the mood as we get ready for tomorrow's show. Big up to Himanshu in the chat here. He says, hello, guys. Yeah, just me today, Himanshu, but good to have you here, bro. Yeah, a lot going on. Now, I've dropped some videos on this on the YouTube channel, so feel free to check it out. But let's talk about it, man, because if you haven't seen today, the news has broken that per Dan Rafael. Now, Dan Rafael is a senior boxing journalist. He has been in the game for a long time now, well over 20 plus years. He's worked for the likes of ESPN, USA Today. So he is a knowledgeable boxing insider. And I don't think that he would come out with this sort of information if he didn't believe it was true, because the implications and the sort of liability that you would get if you were to, provide incorrect information would be pretty detrimental. So for those of you that don't know, Dan Rafael has tweeted today saying that Dillian Whyte has failed multiple Vada tests in the lead up to the Anthony Joshua fight. So not just one, he failed multiple tests according to Dan Rafael. And if this is true, if this comes out to be true, then Dillian Whyte could be finished, man. He could be finished already. He could very well be finished already with, the positive result affecting, the outcome of this fight this weekend. Obviously not happening now. But if it was to come out that, multiple tests came out as positive, he's in serious trouble, man. And what I would say is that if this is not true, then you would expect Dillian Whyte and his legal team to jump on this straight away. The tweet's been out for at least 2 hours now from Dan Rafael. So I don't know, man. He could just be getting the information from Vada directly. He could just be reporting on what he's heard and seen. But if this is true, Dillian Whyte is in serious, serious trouble, man. And that could be the end of his boxing career, really, because he'd be looking at a lengthy ban. And he's what, 30? What's Dillian Whyte? 35 years old? I believe he's 35 years old now. He's definitely out of his prime. So, it's not a good look. It's not a good look at all. So I don't want to be the person to say whether this is true or not. I'm literally just reporting on what I've seen. And Dan Rafael has been in the game for a while. So don't look at this as an exclusive from me, as me saying that, Dillian Whyte has failed multiple tests, because I don't know. I'm just reporting on what I've seen. And if this is true, man, this is serious. This is not a good look at all for Dillian Whyte. Big up my brother here, Francisco, in the building. He's put word up, bro. What's happening to you, man? Yeah, just me today, quickly jumping on, getting some of your thoughts on this news that has broken today. So big up Francisco. Big up to Ian Hamilton. He said here, this is going to get more crazier. Whyte did not back himself to win, the same as with Miller. You know what? Shout out to my guy DS, man. He'll probably catch a rerun of this later. But he was the one that said to me at the beginning that he's starting to become the UK version of Jarrell Miller, Dillian Whyte. And the way how it's looking, multiple Vada tests that you failed. Come on, man. What we got to hear about it now? Because this is the third occasion, should I say, where Dillian Whyte has tested positive. Now, fool me once, shame on you. You guys know the saying, right? This is, I'll wait until we get confirmation from Vada. But for Dan Rafael to tweet this, he would not tweet it without having some serious knowledge behind him and knowing that this is true. Like I said, the implications would be huge if he was to tweet incorrect information about a topic so sensitive. So this is probably going to be true, guys. Dillian Whyte is likely to have failed multiple Vada tests. And if that is the case, then yeah, this is not a good look. My brother Michael Maxwell is in the building. He says here, evening family, Whyte is now done in the sport. Yeah, he could very well be. Like I said, 35 years old. Where is he at this stage of his career right now? Out of his prime. He could be looking at a lengthy ban. And to be out of the ring for an extra couple of years when you're in your mid-30s, the future's not looking bright at all for Dillian Whyte. And who's going to want to touch him after that? You've got to look at Jarrell Miller. Jarrell Miller did serve his ban, but what's he done since he's been back? I mean, has anybody really followed Jarrell Miller's career since he's been back in the game? He's been back for what, about a year now, maybe? He's had a couple of fights, nothing really to really scream about. Nobody's really reported on him. People are done with him. They've washed their hands. And Dillian Whyte could be facing the same sort of fate if this turns out to be true. Now, all Dillian Whyte has said since the testing came out positive, we found that out on Saturday, is he released a quick statement on his Instagram, basically claiming innocence, saying that he doesn't know anything about this, saying that he was disappointed that he hasn't been given a chance to clear his name, and that he hasn't been able to, with the fight being cancelled, he's disappointed with that. But listen, man, I'm expecting him to come out and say something about this, if it is presented to him, if it is true, that he's going to say he's not aware. He's going to say he's not sure, like he didn't know that this was in his system. He's going to claim innocence. Of course he is. That's what everybody does in this situation. But yeah, this ain't looking too good, man. Multiple Vada tests Dillian Whyte has failed, according to Dan Rafael. That's crazy. That's crazy. Ian Hamilton says here, I feel for AJ. He's done his bit, and then this. If he does fight, it wouldn't be that statement win. Yeah, you've got to feel sorry for AJ. Do you know who you've got to feel sorry for? Ian Hamilton as well. You've got to feel sorry for all of the guys that have paid for tickets, hotel rooms, travel. We're living in a cost of living crisis at the moment. The economy is not great anywhere at the moment. And for people to pay out and shell out their money for these tickets, for travel, for hotel, which you're probably not going to get a refund for at this stage, it's you've got to think about those people. They came out here to see a show. There's still probably going to be a show, which you're going to touch on later on with some of the potential guys that AJ might be facing. So yes, they could still go to a show, but they're not going for what they paid for. They're not going to see AJ and Dillian Whyte too. And if that's the case, you've got to blame Dillian Whyte for this, man. And they're not going to get reimbursed. They ain't going to get reimbursed for their train ticket. They ain't going to get reimbursed for their travel. These are just working class people like me and you. They're not rich people that can just shell out money like that. They're spending their hard-earned money on something that now that's the risk that you take with this game. And it's very unfortunate, and I feel for them. They're the ones that I really feel for. Of course, I feel for AJ as well. He's been in a solid training camp. He's been training his arse off over there in Dallas, and he looks in terrific shape. He's working with Derek James. They've been working on a few things. And, this would have been a good fight for AJ to come back to, look good in winning on the big stage before he fights Deontay Wilder. So, of course, I feel for AJ as well. But you have to feel for the people that bought tickets for this, man, the people that are going out of their way to travel to this event. This is terrible for them. So I really feel it, man. It is bad. And, significant punishment is going to have to be handed out for sure. Significant punishment will need to be handed out to Dillian Whyte if this is the case, man. But we'll see. Dan Rafael, the tweet is still up. He's got it out there. He says that per sources, Dillian Whyte has failed multiple Vada testing, not just one, multiple. So we'll wait for the information. I'm still not sure what the drug is that was found in his system. Haven't been told anything like that yet. But yeah, this is not a good look, man. Big up Francisco. He says here, apparently they still want AJ to fight on Saturday and some names have been thrown out. Do you have any idea if the event will still happen? Yes, I do. Yeah, we'll touch on that, Francisco. Michael Maxwell says here, the only fight is Hergovich from what's immediately available, but that's way too dangerous on a week's notice. Well, some of the other news that's come out today is maybe Robert Helenius. Now, Robert Helenius, as you guys remember, got flattened by Deontay Wilder in a round. Absolutely flattened. It was a spectacular knockout from Deontay Wilder. But Robert Helenius was in action over the weekend. So I think he got a third round TKO stoppage win. So he got a knockout win on his comeback fight. He's still in shape. If he is going to fight Deontay Wilder, AJ, in December, January, then that is a mutual opponent that they could both look at. But yeah, Robert Helenius is the name that's being strongly considered. I think he's the front runner to take on AJ this weekend. So this wouldn't be on pay-per-view. They would take it off pay-per-view. And Robert Helenius and Anthony Joshua would share the ring this weekend. It's looking like that will be the case. Some other names that were thrown out there was Gerald Washington. Now, Gerald Washington is fighting Jarek Chisora on that undercard, but AJ's team reached out to him as well. These are per sources, per Michael Benson on Twitter. AJ reached out to Gerald Washington's team, and I think Gerald Washington confirmed that in an interview himself. But he said that AJ reached out to him. They were considering the offer, but it's looking like it will be Robert Helenius that will be stepping in to fight Anthony Joshua. Nothing sealed yet. Nothing is confirmed at the moment, but that is the name that it's looking like it's going to be, Robert Helenius. Now, Robert Helenius, as you guys know, he's quite well known out there in the sport of boxing. We all know who Robert Helenius is. As I said, he got flattened by Deontay Wilder. He lost a points decision to Dillian Whyte, a unanimous points decision. He has beaten Adam Kaunaki, twice. He did beat him. Robert Helenius did beat Derek Chisora back in the day. So yeah, we know who Robert Helenius is. It's a solid enough name, I guess. But for AJ, it's a very winnable fight, right? And but Helenius can bang. He can actually bang himself. So I think if you're preparing for Wilder, then listen, it's not the best out there, but I think it's the best in a bad situation at this short notice. Who are you really going to get within a week? I know Andy Ruiz was calling AJ out for the trilogy. Who else? I think there was somebody else that called AJ out as well. So obviously they would have been better fights. Hrgovic is on the undercard. That would have been a big fight and a real tough challenge for AJ. But if you're AJ's management team, are you really going to consider a Hrgovic within a week's notice? Are you going to take Andy Ruiz in a week's notice? Have you not learned your lesson? What happened in New York? So with Deontay Wilder on the horizon, then it makes sense. It's not what we want, but I guess it makes sense to have a Robert Helenius in there for AJ to go out and win, try and win spectacularly as well, get some sort of confidence boost back up before you head out there against Deontay Wilder. And at least you would have had a couple of rounds or so to get back in it, shake the ring rust off and stay sharp for Deontay Wilder in December or January, because Wilder, it doesn't look like he's going to be fighting Andy Ruiz now. So who's he going to be fighting, in between that fight with AJ? Maybe he won't fight anyone. That would be advantage AJ, right? If he was to fight Robert Helenius and win well, then, he would be the guy that's more sharp. So let's see what you guys are saying, man. Michael Maxwell here, he's put here, Whyte's punishment should be that him and Baby Miller should fight each other for free. You know what? Dillian Whyte and Big Baby Miller, they've obviously had their back and forth online, haven't they, before in the past? That fight there, just throw that on like on a Misfit show or something like that, man, for real, because nobody's going to want to touch these two after. I mean, Jarrell Miller, who's he even signed with? I don't even know. Is it Salita Promotions? Is he with him? I don't even know. But Jarrell Miller messed up the bag big time. And so is Dillian Whyte, particularly if this newfound information that we've got is true. Ian Hamilton says here, at this point, most fans need to accept whoever is in the ring with AJ due to these circumstances on a week's notice. Just my opinion. Yeah. We can't really criticize AJ too. I mean, this was not in the script. This is not what they were looking for. I guess if you're in there with a real cream puff, they're gonna, criticize it. But the Helenius one, it's not what we picked. It wouldn't be our first choice. But if I'm Team AJ, I think it makes sense. Deontay Wilder flattened Helenius in a round. If AJ was to knock out Helenius as well, they might compare the way that they both did it. It's going to be hard to compare it with Deontay Wilder because it was literally the first punch Deontay Wilder threw that took Helenius out. So you're not really going to do any better than that. But if AJ can just get some rounds in, get a stoppage win, and go from there, then that will look good for him. But yeah, obviously we'd rather see him in there with a Hrgovic or an Andy Ruiz and try and save the show, keep it on pay-per-view. But it's not going to be on pay-per-view from what I'm hearing. And it's looking like that Helenius may be the guy that will step in. Nothing confirmed yet. There are still other guys out there that AJ's team is talking to, Gerald Washington being one of them. Derek Chisora was rumored to be, speaking with AJ about fighting him, but that is just not true at all. I can't see that happening. It's a conflict of interest. They're good mates. Also, he's a client. He's part of Team AJ, Derek Chisora, so that just wouldn't make sense at all. I can't see that happening. Michael Maxwell says here, oh my God, Helenius would kill the Wilder fight because the instant comparison is that Wilder destroyed him in seconds. Yeah, that's what I just said, literally, Michael, as well. Yeah, literally, you can't really compare it because how do you compare to that? Wilder literally destroyed Helenius with the first punch that he landed. So whatever AJ does, it's not going to be better than what Wilder did. But I think at this stage, AJ just needs to get some rounds in. It's making the most of a bad situation. And Helenius would make sense in terms of a tall opponent, somebody that, can get knocked out. He does have the threat of punching power as well. So, you know, AJ will have to be alert for sure. So I think he's not Wilder. He's not nothing like Wilder, but in terms of the height, the punching power, and the fact that he's very beatable, I guess I would understand why AJ would fight Robert Helenius right now. Himanshu says here, is AJ even fighting or is it totally cancelled? No, it's not cancelled yet. But then he's also said it's been confirmed as Abdu Rozik. Let me see. Where did you see that, Himanshu? Is that online now? Let me have a look. I'll have a look at that while we're on the live and confirm. Ian Hamilton said here, the worst thing is I believed Dillian Whyte 4 years ago when he popped in, utter stupidity of the highest level, for real. Let me see. Let me see what Himanshu's saying here about this. Let me just see right now online if that is the case. Literally doing this on the fly, guys, so bear with me. Nothing yet. Nothing confirmed yet. Himanshu, nothing confirmed yet. It's still looking like it could be Robert Helenius. So we'll see about that. I don't know who Abdu Rozik is. Oh, he's saying it's a meme. Bro, I don't know. Like, I don't know who that guy is, man. I apologize. But yeah, you probably got me on here because I didn't know who that guy was. But at the moment, it's still going to be Robert Helenius. We're just waiting for confirmation on that. But let's talk about Dillian Whyte a little bit more before I go, man. Remember, we're going to touch on this tomorrow on the show. But multiple failed Vada tests, Dillian Whyte, according to Dan Rafael, a senior boxing insider, somebody that's been in the game for a long time, knows what he's doing. If this is the case, if this is true, Dillian Whyte failing multiple Vada testing, then he's finished. He's absolutely finished. Nobody's going to want to touch him. His boxing career will become insignificant. And listen, I'm not trying to shit on Dillian Whyte. You know, like, I've always respected him. I've always liked him. You know, I've rooted for him a lot of times. So this is obviously nothing personal from me. But if this is true, man, like, I can't back you on this. Nobody can, because, you know, fool me once, shame on you. You know how the saying goes, right? Technically, his career would indeed be over if that is the case, because he would be facing a significant ban. And he's 35 years old now, and he's currently out of his prime. You know, his punch resistance has gone. Who's he going to fight? He's not going to come back in a couple of years and be a contender again. He will come back in a couple of years, if he even bothered, and literally be at the bottom of the pile, you know? So, yeah, it's not looking good for Dillian Whyte. I think he needs to come out and say something about these latest reports from Dan Rafael. You know, try and clear his name if that is the case. But like I said, the tweet has been out for 2 to 3 hours now, and we haven't heard anything from his team or anyone. I haven't seen nothing online about it. So, yeah, not a good look for Dillian Whyte, man. And, wow, it's just, I think that, yeah, this is literally the UK version of Jarrell Miller. Shout out to DS for that one. But that is what we're looking at right here. More information could be coming out with this, but not a good look at all. Just thought I'd quickly touch on that, guys. Robert Helenius being lined up for AJ as the replacement opponent. But, yeah, it's just a shame, man. You know, like, we've seen the whole Conor Ben situation, how that's played out. Literally, you know, it's probably not resolved, even though he is cleared to fight. It seems that UKAD, you know, their statement that I read from them wasn't very forthright for me. You know, it looks like that they're withholding something back. But what we do know is Conor Ben is cleared to fight. But, you know, look at that whole messy situation, how that turned out. It was just a mess, right? And we literally got a new controversy here in front of us with Dillian Whyte, literally straight after the Conor Ben one. So not a good look. But listen, at the end of the day, these tests are doing what they're supposed to do, right? This is what we have these tests in place for, to catch people if they pop dirty. So while it is bad and everything else, at the same time, this is what they are for, you know, to catch people out if they do provide an adverse finding. And for Dillian Whyte, that has been the case. So Michael Maxwell says here, it's ironic, the two most outspoken AJ opponents both failed drug tests. Were they that desperate to beat him? Ian Hamilton says here, just also waiting for Eddie Hearn's interview when we'll get something. Himanshu says here, 2 out of 3 big fights this month cancelled. Beterbiev versus Smith, AJ versus Whyte, only Usyk versus Daniel Dubois left. Yeah, you're right, man. Beterbiev pulled out of an injury, didn't he, against Callum Smith? So we've got AJ and Whyte that's been cancelled as well. Daniel Dubois and Alexander Usyk, I believe that is, towards the end of the month, isn't it? So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, man, it's not a good look at all. Francisco says here, I know he's from Sweden, but is Helenius based from Europe these days? Can he get to London today? Yeah, I think Helenius, I think he was born in Sweden, but raised in Finland. So he's Finnish. He's from Scandinavia. Robert Helenius is what I do know. And listen, man, for that sort of money, you're going to get over to London. You are, man. So he's not too far away. He can get a flight over here. It would only take a couple of hours. That wouldn't be an issue at all for Robert Helenius. I'm not sure where his fight was over the weekend, but yeah, he's not too far away. You know, he'll travel for that fight at the O2, make some extra money for sure. So yeah, I don't blame him. Himanshu says here, but we know, Daryl, this much good for boxing was too good to be true. Yeah, we've been in a real good place with boxing right now. So of course we were going to get surrounded with some controversy, but this is not good for Dillian Whyte, man. It is not at all. Like I said, until I get the information confirmed, then I can really go in on it. But with Dan Rafael reporting this, like I said, it's for me, it's the writings on the wall. I don't know yet, but I don't think he'll be tweeting this sort of stuff out if there weren't no serious implications. He knows what he's been in the game for a long time. So he knows what sort of implications would follow if he got this wrong. But the tweet is still out there. Go and check it out. Dillian Whyte failing multiple Vada tests, according to Dan Rafael, per his sources. Now, let's wait and see what evolves from this. But yeah, just my reaction, man, not a good look. And AJ versus Robert Helenius looking like it will be on. But listen, guys, I'm going to literally jump off it now. Tomorrow, we've got the podcast, myself and Laurie. That will be a full hour of us talking about this. Hopefully by then, we will get further developments. But I did just want to touch in with you guys quickly on this news. Yeah, unbelievable. Unbelievable this is, man. Shout out to all you guys in the chat. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. For those that are watching this video later on, hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And yeah, Himanshu says here, I can't wait for the pod. Oh, listen, the pod is going to be fire. It is going to be fire. Ian Hamilton says here, I can't wait for your dad to go in on this. He's going to go in on it. He's going to go in on it, man, for sure. But I ain't even spoke to him about it yet. So I'm waiting for him to text me. But yeah, once this does come out tomorrow, the pod, be there because it's going to be fire, man. But until then, guys, we'll catch you lot tomorrow on the live stream. Don't forget to check out the rest of my videos on the channel. Subscribe to it if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys very soon, man. Have a good evening.